When most of us buy chicken, we have a particular piece in mind. Perhaps the ubiquitous boneless, skinless chicken breast, or the thigh, drumstick, or maybe those little wings that will be served with buffalo sauce. You can easily find packages of them all in the meat section. But there's another way to buy chicken, as in, well, buying a chicken, as in a whole bird. Oh, I can sense your trepidation right now. A whole uncut up chicken? Why would anybody do this? And how would you even use such a thing? And then there's that whole icky business of cutting it up. Take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. In fact, after watching this video, I think you will see the merits of buying a bird whole. Oh, and if you've never cut up a chicken before, don't worry. I will demo that as well. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And yes, we have a whole episode on this. Whole chicken. Now, you've probably seen these before when you're shopping for chicken. The whole ones are usually in a section at the end, and maybe you've looked at them kind of suspiciously at best and then moved on. But don't fear, we're gonna do this. Buying a whole chicken is actually a really great way of buying chicken. In fact, I think it's better than buying chicken that's been cut up into parts. And today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should be buying whole chicken. So let's get into it. So the first reason to buy a chicken whole is, well, the flexibility that it gives you. Why choose between chicken breast or thighs or drumsticks? Well, when you can have it all and more. This is great if you have, let's say, a family or friends you're cooking for, and maybe each individual likes a different part. Maybe somebody likes white meat, somebody likes dark meat, somebody loves the wings. Well, a whole chicken is going to satisfy everybody because you're going to have all of the parts. And as you get those parts, you're also going to be able to practice butchering techniques. Now, cutting up a chicken is not that hard. Again, I'm going to show you how at the end of this video, but that's really great practice, and I guarantee that that is going to improve you as a cook. And another quick reason in this first point to buy your chicken whole is because I believe there's a little less risk of, let's say, contamination. When you're buying your chicken cut up, well, that's been processed another step, and there's always potential when you have processing for pathogens or something to get in there. When you buy a whole chicken, well, all those parts are together in this one here. The second reason to buy a chicken whole is, well, you don't have to even cut it up. You can practice cooking with a whole chicken. This can be roasted, you can make your own rotisserie chicken, or you could even plop the whole thing in a big pot of water and make amazing chicken soup. But roasting a whole bird is a great way to just kind of learn as a cook. The first time you roast your own chicken, you'll just be amazed at what you created, the flavors, and just it's like a taste of home. And you'll be so proud of yourself, and you can do that when you buy your chicken whole. It's also great practice, well, for something like Thanksgiving when you're roasting a bird much bigger than this. By roasting your own chicken and kind of practicing that, you'll get a better sense of when things are done and just how to do it with a bigger bird like a turkey. And don't forget, you can also practice brining. Brining is a great way to kind of infuse flavor into a chicken. I did a whole episode on brining, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. But even if you don't cut this thing up, you can do some really great recipes with a whole chicken. The third reason that you should be buying a chicken whole is, well, all about the bones, all about the carcass, because you know what that means. That means broth. And the best broth you've ever had. If you've ever had homemade chicken soup, you know what I'm talking about. And to get that, well, you need the bones of a chicken, and you will have that when you buy it whole. You'll be cutting this up so you have that backbone, you have that carcass, and oh my gosh, it's just so good. And not only is homemade chicken broth way better than what you buy in the store, well, it's a lot less expensive. Like, the price you pay for this whole chicken, like, that might be the same price as like one box of chicken stock or chicken broth. And you don't want that salty stuff. You can make it yourself. It's so easy. In fact, I did a video on how to make chicken soup in an Instant Pot. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. But by buying a whole chicken, well, that just equals chicken broth or chicken stock. And don't forget, you can use that for more than just soup. I like to cook my rice in chicken stock. It just infuses it with flavor. You can also use stock to make a gravy. You can use it to reduce and make just a nice pan sauce. The applications are myriad, and they come with buying a whole chicken. And it's not just the bones. The fourth reason you should be buying your own chicken is those extra parts that you get. Now, when you buy a whole chicken and you're preparing to cook it, the first thing you're going to want to do is get into that cavity and get those goodies. Usually stuffed inside of a chicken are the giblets. So we're talking like the heart, the gizzard, the liver, sometimes the neck is in there. Don't throw those things out. Even if you don't like them, well, if you have a dog in your household, I guarantee that it will be a feast for them. My dogs absolutely love the offal from chicken. They just devour it. So that's just another reason to buy your chicken whole. You don't have to pay for those things extra, and they just kind of come with the bird. And finally, the fifth reason you should be buying your chicken whole is that it's usually a heck of a lot cheaper than buying it in parts. Remember, when you buy chicken cut up into parts, you're not just, paying for the chicken and the parts, you're paying for the labor to get those parts because somebody had to cut that chicken up. Chickens don't grow in just like legs or thighs or breasts. They grow as chickens, and somebody needs to cut them up. When you're buying a whole chicken, well, you're the one cutting it up, but that little extra effort, it is so much worth it because a whole chicken, this might cost, I don't know, maybe $6 or $7, and that is a phenomenal value. Again, even just like if you make stock with it, well, you've saved money right there, but you can do so much more with a whole chicken. Of course, you can make sauteed chicken breast, you can make barbecued chicken legs. I mean, again, the applications are just myriad. There's so many things you could do with chicken. We even made chicken taquitos not that long ago. Remember? They were delicious. And one kind of final bonus point is that I think when you buy a chicken whole and you cut it up yourself, it brings you closer to the food. I mean, obviously a life was given to have this chicken here, and when you are cooking it with care, you're cutting it up, I think it brings a different level of respect to the food versus if you just bought a bunch of chicken parts in like a styrofoam container and, threw them on the grill or something. For me, this makes me really appreciate it all the more. Okay, now I'm going to demo how to cut up a whole chicken. And the first thing to know is, well, there's not just one way to cut up a whole chicken. There are a ton of different videos on YouTube. You can see different ways of cutting up a chicken. The way I'm going to show you is just, I think, a real simple method. So if you've never done this before, or maybe it's been a while, well, this is going to be an easy way to do it. Now, a couple things you're going to need to cut up an entire chicken, and the first is a very, very sharp knife. Now you can use a chef's knife for this. That's what this one is, but this is kind of a smaller chef's knife. This is a little more narrow, and I really like to use this knife when cutting up the bird. You can also use something like this, like poultry shears or even just kitchen shears. These are going to come in handy, and you know, if you play your cards right, I guess you could do the whole thing with this, but you're probably really going to want a very sharp knife. Oh, and one more thing, as you see me cutting up this chicken, at one point when I split the breast, yes, I am cutting it on the metal tray. Normally I wouldn't do this. I would use the cutting board, but well, I didn't want to be readjusting cameras with, well, raw chicken infused fingers, so just kind of give me a break on that. And remember, before you cut up that chicken, you're going to want to go into the cavity and remove those giblets first. You know, put them in a pan or put them in a container so that you can cook them up later or add them to your stock. But be sure to get those out before cutting up the chicken. And you're watching this channel, so I don't have to remind you that just, well, you know, wash your hands and clean your cutting board and do all of the things to prevent cross-contamination, because we do not want a visit from Sam and Ella. Get it? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is begin with the legs. And what we're going to do here is we are just going to make a very small incision, just like this. We're going to cut right through this here. We're going to do the same on the other leg, and you want to let gravity help you. Just hold it just like that. And now we are going to pop these legs out of their joints. So we're going to do a little chiropractics here. We're going to take this and just pop this just like that, so you see this bone. We'll do the same thing on the other side. I want to mention, these two things here, these are called the oysters. These are delicious bits of morsels right near the end of the thigh. You want to save these. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our knife, we're going to let gravity help us, and we're just going to cut right around here, just like this. Again, just kind of let gravity do the work. And here we go, we have the thigh. I'm going to put that here. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to take off the wings. And once again, we're going to make a little incision, just like this. You can kind of follow the lines of the fat. We're going to pop these out, just like that. And we'll do the same for the other side. Okay, now here is that delicious backbone. This is what you want. This is what you're going to make your stock out of. And first things first, you see this line of fat? We're going to cut right through this, just like that with our knife. And we're going to do the same on the other side. See these lines? They kind of, you can kind of use them as tracing marks almost. Now what you can do is you can take your knife or you can take shears, and we're going to cut off this backbone. And just kind of cut right through there. Pull it off. Just like that. This is our delicious backbone. This is what we're going to make that beautiful stock out of. We're just going to put that aside right there. Okay, now we're down to the breast. And there's a few ways to do this, but what we can do, if you've never cut up a chicken before, I want you to just kind of put your knife right into this. This is that kind of that sternum. Make a cut, and then we are going to press down and crack it. What you can do is you can take either your shears, or if you have a sharp knife, we will just cut right through this, just like that. And we're just going to cut it in two. And now we have two breasts, just like that. Now you can take the skin off of these if you want to make them boneless and skinless, and then we can also take this breast meat off if you want off of the bone, if you want boneless, skinless chicken breast. Now if you want to cut the thighs off of the legs, that's very easy. Just flip this over, and again we're just going to kind of look for this fat line, just like this, and it might take a little trial and error, but just kind of run your knife around and you will find where to make that cut. Your blade should go right through it without too much pressure, just like that. Now you have your drumstick and you have your thigh. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you to identify this colorful object, and several of you knew exactly what this is. This is indeed a whetstone. This is used for sharpening knives. And well, remember that really extra sharp knife that I talked about? Well, I sharpened it on one of these. This is how you get really, really sharp knives. Have you ever used one of these, or do you want like a demo on how to use one of these? If you think that'd be a good idea for a future video, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I can make a dedicated video on how to use one of these things to get those razor sharp results. For this week's culinary trivia, we are back to the produce section, and what do I have here? What is this thing? It's not an orange, and it's not the world's smallest pumpkin. If you know what this is, or you have a guess, put that in the comments below. I will, of course, let you know what this little guy is in the next video. Hey, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.